There was once a man named Samir who lived in a busy city and worked in a large office. Samir was ambitious, talented, and hardworking, but he often struggled with anger. Small inconveniences, criticism from colleagues, or mistakes at work would make him lose his temper. His frustration affected his relationships, his productivity, and even his health. Samir knew that anger was holding him back, but he didn't know how to control it or turn it into something positive. One day, after a particularly stressful meeting, Samir met a mentor who noticed his frustration. The mentor said, "Anger is not the enemy, it is energy. You can either let it destroy you or channel it into motivation. Anger can push you to improve, to work harder, and to achieve more, but only if you control it and use it wisely." Samir was intrigued. Could something he thought was harmful actually become a source of strength? He decided to try. The first step was self-awareness. Samir began observing the situations that triggered his anger and the way his body and mind reacted. He realized that most of his anger came from expectations, expecting people to behave a certain way, expecting work to go smoothly, and expecting life to be fair. By identifying these triggers, Samir started to understand that anger itself was a signal, a cue that something mattered deeply to him. Instead of lashing out, he chose to pause, breathe, and redirect that energy. Samir turned his anger into motivation by setting goals. Every time he felt frustrated at work, he reminded himself of his ambitions and how he could improve. If a colleague criticized him, he asked, "How can I use this feedback to grow?" If a project failed, he thought, "What lessons can I learn to succeed next time?" Gradually, anger became a tool rather than a burden. It fueled his determination, sharpened his focus, and pushed him to work harder than ever before. Over time, Samir noticed a transformation. His relationships at work improved because he no longer reacted impulsively. His productivity increased because he was channeling emotional energy into action rather than conflict. And most importantly, he discovered a sense of control over his own life. Anger was no longer a destructive force. It was a powerful motivator that propelled him toward his goals. Samir learned that emotions, when understood and managed, can be powerful allies in achieving success. One of the most important lessons Samir learned was patience and persistence. Anger could spark immediate energy, but motivation required consistent effort. He combined the urgency of anger with the discipline of daily practice. If he failed at a task, he reminded himself that failure was temporary and that each attempt brought him closer to success. By converting anger into focused energy, he not only improved his skills but also strengthened his mindset. The challenges that once made him furious now became opportunities to grow stronger. Samir's journey also inspired others around him. Colleagues noticed his shift in attitude and asked him how he managed to remain calm yet driven. He explained, "Anger itself is not the problem. It is what you do with it that matters. Channel it into something productive, and it can become your greatest motivator." People began to see that even strong emotions could be harnessed for growth rather than destruction. Samir had turned a personal weakness into a strength that benefited both his career and his life. Over the years, Samir's career flourished. Projects that once seemed daunting were approached with confidence, and setbacks no longer discouraged him. He achieved recognition, promotions, and respect from his peers. More importantly, he felt fulfilled and empowered because he had mastered the art of emotional control. He realized that the greatest battles are often fought within ourselves, and winning over our own negative emotions is the key to achieving external success. Samir's story teaches a vital lesson. Emotions like anger are natural, but they do not have to control us. By understanding the root cause of anger, observing it without immediate reaction, and channeling it into productive action, we can turn a potential weakness into a source of strength. Anger can motivate us to improve, to act decisively, and to pursue goals with intensity, but only when guided by discipline, focus, and clarity of purpose. The man who turned anger into motivation shows us that every challenge, setback, and emotional struggle can be transformed into fuel for growth. Life will inevitably throw frustrations, disappointments, and provocations our way, but it is our response that defines our success. Instead of letting anger destroy relationships or derail ambitions, we can choose to harness it, learn from it, and convert it into unstoppable drive. In the end, Samir became not just successful, but also wise. He realized that the true power of anger lies in its potential to awaken focus, determination, and resilience. It is not the absence of negative emotions that leads to achievement, but the ability to master them and use them constructively. Samir's journey reminds us that emotions are energy, and controlled energy is the key to extraordinary results. So remember Samir whenever you feel angry or frustrated. Pause, reflect, and ask yourself how you can use that emotion to motivate action, improve yourself, and achieve your goals. Anger, when channeled wisely, can be a powerful ally on the journey to success. Transform it, and you transform your life.